from World War II. And she said that it was a racial slur, and now she is fundraising off of what the president said, Tommy.
So basically what she's doing is using her phony Native American heritage once again to advance her career. So it's actually Elizabeth Warren, not Donald Trump, that is exploiting heritage, that is exploiting Native Americans, and she should be ashamed of herself. But again, the mainstream media will always turn this back on Donald Trump and the name that he's given her. But don't be mistaken. He gave her that name for a reason. He didn't just come up with that out of thin air. She did this to herself.
Right, because she apparently, it does appear, made up her family history to advance her career and get a big job at Harvard.
Oh, of course she did. And then afterwards, when questioned about it, she started telling stories about how her family had high cheekbones. I mean, if we're going to talk about exploiting Native American heritage, going back and telling stories and then trying to cover up for a lie that she apparently told, that's just sick, it's sad, and it's wrong. And now she's fundraising off of it. But guess what? If this is what the left has to offer in 2020, I really like our chances.
Meanwhile, let's talk about Liberty University. I've had a chance to speak there. It's a great experience. You're going to be speaking there with people like Ray Rice, former running back for the Ravens, Corey Lewandowski. So why are some people calling for you to be uninvited?
Well, this is really the disease that's infecting college campuses around the country, and that is not wanting to hear things that they don't want to hear, not wanting to hear people speak with whom they disagree, and that's a problem. I think we need to invite free speech on college campuses, and, you know, I'm looking at someone like Ray Rice, who I might not agree with, who, of course, has a checkered history and a checkered past, but he should absolutely be allowed to speak. I should be allowed to speak, and this is what we have to invite more of on college campuses, is differing viewpoints, differing opinions, and we need to have these college students be exposed to things that they might not be exposed to if they're watching, you know, other mainstream media networks.
Liberty will like your message, so I don't understand the pushback at all.
You know, I mean, this is just commonplace, though. It's me, it's Ben Shapiro, it's any conservative that comes to campus. They're always going to have a fit about it. And I even look to some conservatives that are upset because of some of the opinions that I've had in the past that don't want me to speak. And I say this to conservatives. If we are not going to be the side or the party that stands up for free speech, who will? No one will. So we have to maintain our integrity in that area, and we have to invite, encourage, and we have to make sure that free speech is always welcomed on college campuses, especially.
All right, Tommy, well, thank you very much for taking up our invitation to come and speak your mind right here on Fox and Friends on this Wednesday.
Well, folks, another day, another prominent political leader, Representative John Conyers, accused of sexual misconduct. Goody. Just what we needed. With all this coming out, it would be easy to let the radical feminists convince us the problem is masculinity. Well, a New York Times opinion piece has already gone there with a doozy titled, "The Unexamined Brutality of the Male Libido." But it's not just this op-ed. There's a bigger New Age social experiment that seeks to not only address dangerous masculinity, but also eliminate the whole notion that men are indeed men. Instead of placing the blame where it belongs, on pervy men, they have to blame manhood in its entirety. Well, I have some final thoughts. There are sick men who do sick things because they think in their pants, not their brains. 1000% agree. But playing with dolls, wearing makeup, or using gender-neutral pronouns will do nothing, absolutely zero, to correct sick men who do sick things. There is nothing wrong with boys being boys and girls being girls. Sexual harassment doesn't go away by encouraging boys to be more like girls. Turning little boys into little girls, or worse, erasing gender roles altogether, will never be the solution. We fix this problem in 3 ways. 1, we empower women and girls to speak up and nip this BS in the bud. That's not feminism, that's confidence. I was raised in a traditional family with traditional gender roles, and I can tell you this, if you touch me and I don't want to be touched, it'll be the last time you make that mistake. Period. 2, we stop glorifying fatherless homes. The best way to learn how to be a real man, a man who respects women, is from a man. Problem is, the Democrats have ushered in a new family where the government replaces the father. Meanwhile, popular culture tells women their children don't need fathers. Yeah, who needs male leadership, guidance, and love when the almighty government can cut checks, right? Well, guess what? Fathers are important, and admitting that doesn't take a damn thing away from mothers, single mothers included. And 3, we cut the entitlement mentality off at its knees. These sick men touch, grope, harass, and rape women not because of their masculinity, but because they think they're entitled to it. They think they deserve it. Well, they're dead wrong. Part of the reason for this entitlement mentality among politicians is taxpayer-funded slush funds designed to get our favorite perverts out of hot water at our expense. We don't fix the problem by eliminating masculinity. We don't end harassment by man-hating or beating the feminist war drum. Masculinity isn't a dirty word. If we continue to blame masculinity, we're just going to be left with a bunch of men who use politically correct pronouns, makeup, and rompers, but still can't keep their hands and their privates to themselves. The New Age experiment doesn't fix the problem, and that's the cold, hard truth, and those are my final thoughts. From LA, God bless, and take care.
We got Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren joins us from LA today. Tomi, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so in the corner of the GQ magazine, it says the new American heroes. I'm sure he is a hero to many. What do you think about this selection?
I gotta tell you, wouldn't it be nice if some of these mainstream fashion magazines and lifestyle magazines look at the actual heroes we have, law enforcement, military, everyday heroes like that, as citizens of the year and not someone who simply disrespected the flag, the national anthem, and the military? But you know what? Hey, that's GQ for you.
Yeah, meanwhile, the New York Times is under fire for their op-ed asking if kids can be friends, black kids can be friends with white kids. Here's the quote: "Can my children be friends with white people?" In fact, the guest was on earlier with Tucker Carlson earlier this week. What do you think about this? Is this to create interest, or is this a legitimate question?
Well, clearly the title of the article is meant to be clickbaity, but let's just take a moment and think if this article were titled, "Can my children be friends with black people?" That would be disgustingly racist and everyone would have an outcry over it. But because it's white people, we live in this obscure world where Colin Kaepernick is Citizen of the Year and it's okay to say, "Can my children be friends with white people?" That is liberal logic for you. Welcome to their world.
Democrats first were screaming at the sky at the anniversary of President Trump being elected. Now they're building a resistance hotel down in D.C. The developer is opening this anti-Trump hotel. What do you think about that? And will you be staying there?
You know, I think you can probably answer that question, but I just think it's so odd that we had generations of Americans, black and white, brown, and every color of the rainbow, that fought segregation, and now we have liberals that are actively wanting to segregate us by political party, by color. In some cases, it's quite disgusting. You know, good luck on your enterprise. And also, I would like to note that it's the free marketplace and capitalism that allows someone like this to open up a hotel, but
yeah.
They probably don't understand that because of the leftist world in which they live.
They counter it by saying that the Trump Tower has the Trump Hotel has turned into a pro-Trump hotel, but that wasn't the intention. I mean, it was being built before he was even declared to be running for president.
Well, let's talk about all the employees of the Trump hotels and Trump International. I personally stayed in Trump hotels. The staff was fantastic. The service was fantastic. It wasn't pro-Trump. It was pro-service. It was pro-guest. And I had a great time there. And I'm looking at all the people that were employed by it. And I think that's a great thing for the United States of America. Maybe the anti-Trump tower will employ some folks as well. But, you know, really disgusting message behind it.
I will say this, Tommy. I went in there and I needed a new tie. I was able to do it on layaway.
Resistance Hotel?
Yeah, no, at the Trump Hotel.
Oh, okay.
I went in there and I needed a new tie, so I went to the men's area. I don't know. And I basically couldn't pay for it all at once. I said, what if I just give you a down payment?
How much was it?
It was an expensive tie. I mean, I needed financing, but to walk out with this tie as my own.
Really? A Trump tie?
It was it's a very luxurious.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
I think they made it from scratch. They had their own loom.
There you go. Well, Tomi, thank you very much for joining us today from Los Angeles. We covered a lot of territory today. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Great to see you.
You as well. I'm looking forward to seeing that tie, Brian, soon.
Exactly. You'll see it.
Liberal media taking aim at women in the White House this week, first attacking Sarah Huckabee Sanders, her Thanksgiving chocolate and pecan pie, demanding proof that she baked it.
It's called Piegate.
It was too pretty.
They're saying it was stock footage. Then a Vanity Fair article about the First Lady claims she never wanted to be in the White House to begin with.
Is the hostility just because they are conservative women? Here to weigh in is Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren. Tomi, thanks for being with us.
Of course, and to answer your question is absolutely because they're conservative women. There's no other explanation for it, really.
You don't really know what that's like to be attacked.
No, not me. Are you kidding, Brian? Everyone loves me. You know that.
Well, we do. But, I mean, you seem to you're always underneath some pressure. But in terms of the First Lady in particular, I've heard First Ladies before in the past, like Mrs. Obama when she was a candidate, when Barack Obama was a candidate, say, you know, she wasn't looking forward to going to the White House. But they did it in a nice way. When they went after Melania, they acted like she didn't even want to, you know, be married or like the country.
Well, they go after Melania for everything. They go after Sarah Huckabee Sanders for everything. They go after Kellyanne Conway and Ivanka Trump for everything. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. If any of these women, and Hope Hicks is included in that list as well, if any of these women were on the left or campaigned for Hillary Clinton, they would be on the cover of every magazine in this country and around the world. They would be lauded as feminist icons. But because they're conservatives, they're not given the same credit. And they're also ridiculed and attacked for their pies, for their shoe choices at a hurricane site, for every single thing they do, from their looks to their intelligence, and it's sick.
Doesn't it go against everything that these women are preaching, though? They're preaching acceptance and tolerance for all, and women should make the same amount of money as men, but yet they're attacking these women who are big leaders in the White House just because they don't agree with them politically?
Well, this is the hypocritical left showing its true colors. Once again, they are the party of female empowerment, but it's selective female empowerment. It's female empowerment for those on the left. But if you're on the right, if you're a conservative, if you're even an independent, you don't get the same treatment, and you are not the icon in which they seek, because that is for a special group of women. So if we aren't in that category, I'm sorry, they don't like us. They're going to attack us for every little thing. Again, going after pies.